Welcome to Tantrum House. I'm Kevin Delp, and we're going to jump right in and look at some board games launching on Kickstarter in May. I wanted to mention two launching end of April. One is Clans of Caledonia, launching on April 25th. It's a mid to heavy economic game that is set in 19th century Scotland. Players represent historic clans with unique abilities. The game ends after 5 rounds. If you like Terra Mystica and other economic games, there's a very good chance you'll like Clans of Caledonia. Another one is Barbarians The Invasion, launching on April 26th. This game comes from the creators of Hyperborea. It revolves around worker placement with innovative mechanic of a turning wheel, creating the strategic challenge of a dynamic game board. It features plenty of detailed miniatures and stunning artwork. In Barbarians The Invasion, you control a barbarian clan, and it's on its path to glory. Let's jump into May. May 1st brings us Extraordinary, the superhero card game. It's a superhero-themed strategy card game by designer Roger Allen Cotton for 2 players, ages 12 and up. The premise is that players each control a team of 7 super-powered characters who battle through an episode from an original comic book issue storyline. Badlands is also launching in May. It's a strategic board game in a post-apocalyptic world for 2 to 4 players. It takes about 60 to 120 minutes to play. In this game, you'll lead a small community of post-nuclear survivors struggling for their lives. You will have to undertake distant expeditions and explore abandoned locations, develop trade and attack your enemies, protect your settlement, and fight for influence to secure your corner in the ruthless world of Badlands. Horrible Games is launching their game Alone on May 2nd. It's a sci-fi survival horror dungeon crawler game that will pit a single stranded hero against 1 to 3 evil masterminds who will do their best to stop the hero from completing a quest to discover the truth and save his companions. The evil players always have the full map of the scenario in front of them, hidden by a huge screen. The hero can only see a sector of the map he is in. The story of the game will be unfolded through several scenarios, each one divided into several chapters. Each chapter has an objective for the hero to complete, while the evil players will have to stop him or try to fulfill a different objective of their own. The outcome of each player will influence the gameplay of the subsequent one. Each scenario is conceived with a branching storyline that can adapt to the actions of the players. If the hero completes his goals, his life will be easier in the next chapter. But that is only true for the evil players. Metal Fest launches early May as well. You're an up-and-coming music promoter looking to make your name on the metal scene by putting together a band that can win the Metal Fest. Over 3 days, you will build your band by drafting band members and gimmicks, but no one works for free. You'll have to balance hiring with selling cards from your hand as merchandise. Code Triage launches May 3rd. It's a light to medium weight cooperative board game for 1 to 4 players. You and your teammates take on the roles of 4 different emergency room staff members of a failing medical center on the verge of being shut down. You only have until the end of your shift to save the hospital. May the 4th, we'll see the relaunch of Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea by Gameling Games. They will be lowering the price, unlocking stretch goals for minis faster, and even offering a solo variant. May the 4th be with them. Underleague by Cogwright Games is a fantasy card game set in the smoke-filled city of Helgarten. Players take on the role of breeders assembling a stable of fantastical creatures and mechanical monstrosities, and entering them into illegal pit fights against each other, while also betting on the outcome of these fights. Underleague contains a total of 30 unique creature cards and 40 unique strategy cards. In addition to the basic game mode, it also contains rules for constructed and draft play. Early May, we will also see the relaunch of Skyways. It's a city-building game for 2 to 4 players published by Eagle Griffin Games. You can check out our preview video we published on our YouTube channel. On May 9th, we'll see Zombie Tsunami. It's a party game for 3 to 6 players that plays in under 30 minutes. In the game, every player leads a horde of zombies storming the city. The winner is the one with the most zombies at the end of the game. Players will have to collaborate, bluff, and sometimes betray one another in order to win the game. Arkham Age Origins will also launch May 9th. It's a quick, light card game of dueling wizards using a unique combination of memory, strategy, and area control. Players take turns manipulating the fields of monsters and focusing their mystical powers to enlist creatures to form the strongest army possible. The goal is to control the strongest force of monsters from their realm, which is made up of cards indicating the monster that occupies that space and its power level. May 9th, we'll also see Path of Light and Shadow. It's a massive empire building experience combining area control, deck management, and civilization customization. As players vie for control of the realms, they must enlist and promote supporters, outfit their burgeoning empire with powerful technologies, align with powerful leaders, and lay siege to rival exiles after the throne. Above all else, each player must decide what type of leader they will become, cruel or merciful, but choose wisely, for each path has its rewards and perils. Another game launching May 9th is Deimos Fall. It's a multiplayer deck-building game set in the Japanese Middle Ages, when the country was ruled by feudal lords known as daimyo. Recruit the best ninja and samurai warriors to conquer the dead daimyo's palace and seize the treasure. Sailing Toward Osiris by Daily Magic Games is a Euro-style game with worker placement, resource management, project completion, and no direct conflict. Downtime is kept to a minimum via single-action, round-and-round turn structure that emphasizes timing decisions and subtle strategies. The game takes place over 4 seasons, with the movement of Pharaoh's barge tracking the game's progress. Sailing Toward Osiris was inspired by the real events surrounding the death of Ramses XI at the end of Egypt's 20th dynasty and the ascension of Smendes, a powerful governor in Lower Egypt. Tournament of Towers is a dexterity game by Iron Hippo Games. It's about stacking game pieces to build the tallest and most creative tower. Players draft 7 cards to determine which pieces must be used. After 2 rounds of building, the player with the most points wins. Carthage is launching May 17th. It's a deck-building board game where players move around a hex-based arena and face off in gladiatorial warfare to earn crowd favor, gain armor, and battle to the death. This game uses blended mechanics of deck building, hand management, and a whole lot of ruthless take-that combat. Enter the theater of Carthage, where any move could be your last. Easy to learn, easy to die. Headhunters launches May 23rd. It's an expandable card-driven miniatures game for 2 or more players. Each player controls their own hero of every age and dimension. Stands for head. It's a headhunter toy that stores all the components of the game in its head. Inside each headhunter is its own themed deck of cards, battle bases, measuring string, and combat dice. The starter pack includes the Viking and the Robot. Cards from other headhunters can be mixed and matched to customize a player's deck, matching their own playstyle. Each character has a unique set of starting terrain as part of their deck that can be placed in a multitude of positions and layouts to create unlimited fields of battle. Gameplay continues until 1 hunter is left standing. When the game is over, all the components fit back inside the head. Check out our playthrough and a review coming soon. Dwarven Smithy is a 2 to 4 player, Dwarven-themed crafting and hand area management card game. Players work to gain gold by utilizing limited space in their workshop. Players craft items, gain special abilities, and tools using a variety of resources. Role Player is bringing an expansion on May 23rd. Monsters and Minions. Not only do players compete to construct the greatest fantasy characters, they also must gather information about the monstrous threat looming and prepare for a final showdown against the beast. The player with the greatest reputation wins the game and becomes the heir to the kingdom. Elements for 3 to 4 players is relaunching on Kickstarter. It's a quick dice rolling game incorporating a push your luck style of play with 4 sets of custom dice. Control the wild element Z and convert it to one of the 4 main elements of air, earth, fire, and water. Each player chooses from 4 different alien races, master of a single element, each with variable race powers, in a battle to become the Master Z. Towards the end of May, we'll see Zombicide Green Horde. After the extremely successful campaign of Rising Sun, CMON updated the backers that they were working on a new Zombicide game, Green Horde. This sequel to the smash hit Zombicide Black Plague will bring players back into a world of deadly medieval fantasy, this time filled with infected orcs and goblins who will put survivors to the ultimate test. This green menace is not only stronger than their human counterparts, but they also tend to gather into massive hordes that ambush the survivors when they least expect it. Uncover the many surprises the Green Horde has in store. Mind Clash Games, the makers of Tricerion and Anachrony, bring Cerebral. Leave the outside world behind, submerge into this game, and shape the future of the inside world in this 2 versus 2 area control team game, Cerebral, the Inside World. Impersonate the game's creative spirits associated with either bliss or gloom, and invoke emotion cards with various intensities to occupy important spots on the board, or to accompany your spirit as it moves across Cerebral. The identity is built as a common effort of the two teams, and the game ends immediately once it is completed, as it grants Cerebria a permanent stability. Ravage Dungeons of Plunder for 1-4 Orcs by the Beardley Brothers is relaunching on Kickstarter. It's a dungeon-delving board game where you, the player, get to control a band of orcs. Ain't no paladins or dwarves here. Raid dungeons, slaughter monsters for their turf, and complete objectives, and level up along the way. There She Is, the tabletop game, is launching either the end of April, beginning of May. It's a co-op game based on the popular Korean animation series. And There She Is, you help Doki the bunny and Nabby the cat. These players must find ways to achieve the goals of every episode while solving the events that will often appear. In Lord of Hellas, you get to control asymmetric heroes and choose your path to victory, either by strategic control or adventure-style monster hunting and quests. Build majestic multi-part monuments on the board and unlock their mighty powers that will help you win and survive the raid of monsters who travel through land and rain havoc. Galactic Warlords Battle for Dominion is a card-driven game of tactical deployment and planet control. In this game, you play as one of the warlords, with purpose to establish your dominion over the contested galactic region and score the most points at the end of the game. We'll hopefully be producing a full video review of this in May. Inspiration launches May 12th. It's a storytelling improv card game for 3 to 6 people. Players in Inspiration use several art cards to help them tell a story about a single subject card. The players only have a limited amount of time to tell their stories. The player who tells the best story and best uses their cards in the eyes of the judge will win the round and get a point. The first player to 3 points wins the game. Kitchen Rush by Artipia Games launches on Monday, May 22nd. It's a co-op real-time worker placement game where you try to manage a restaurant's kitchen using actual hourglasses as your workers. On May 25th, we'll see Sine Tempore. It's a co-op game in which 1 to 4 players face the game's artificial intelligence as part of a campaign, which guides them to one of 3 different endings. In the game, it plunges players into planet's alien atmosphere, guided by scenarios. It will take you back to a faraway past, thousands of years before Nova Aetas, exploring new worlds in a search for a new home where characters can live and prosper. On May 30th, we'll see Carcosa. You will summon forth the home of the tattered king 1 tile at a time. You will use your cultists to control ley lines, conduct rituals, and influence the districts of Carcosa itself. Sometime in May, we'll see Irene the Contest. It's a tactical combat miniature game for 1 to 8 players set in the fantasy world of Teneris, where you will find warriors, wizards, elves, and if you're lucky, or not, even dragons. The game has 2 modes, co-op and competitive. In co-op, a group of 4 heroes must face dangerous quests and challenges, make tough decisions, survive dragon encounters, and much more. In competitive, 2 teams of 3 to 4 heroes fight each other to make history in the arena. Also in May, I believe an expansion to Monstrous will be launching by Good Games Publishing, Release the Kraken. Also look for Titan Dice, a game in which you roll a set of 5 dice every turn to attain as many of the 5 creatures as possible. Be the first player to collect 4 of each creature. Well, thanks for watching and be sure to subscribe to our channel. We'll be producing more videos like this all the time.